Welcome to Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson. I am your host and leadership mentor, Tywauna Wilson. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Leadership Tidbits. If you can do me a favor, come on in into our virtual learning laboratory. Come in, let me know where you're coming in from, and make sure you share this broadcast out. So share it out with somebody who could use it. Tonight's topic is a good one. So I will give you some time to come on in and share this message out. And let me make sure that we are all set up and everything looks good. So let me know where you are coming in from so I can welcome you to the show. And tonight we got an awesome topic. I am going to talk about investing in your team. So if you are a leader, if you are a manager, if you are a coach, if you are a business owner, tonight's topic is going to be a great one. So come on in and get these leadership tidbits that I have for you tonight. And while you are coming in, I do want to make sure that you are aware of some upcoming events. This Thursday is our monthly leadership roundtable series. So this month, we will have my co-host, Lona Small. She will be our featured presenter, speaker, and mentor for that session. So if you haven't registered already, you still have some time to register. You can just scan the QR code and you will be able to register in the event. Now, I will tell you this, if you go ahead and secure your 2022 roundtable membership, you will also get the Land Your Dream Job Toolkit, but you got to act fast. You got to get your membership, which is only $99. So it's really low cost for what you will be getting. You have to do that by tomorrow, the 23rd, to be able to take advantage of that. And so the toolkit by itself actually weighs more and covers more than your yearly membership for the Roundtable series. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started because I want to make sure that you get all of these nuggets tonight. So let me share my screen here. All right, so 10 steps for investing in your team. And make sure as you come in, you can go ahead and you can, as things come to mind, you can go ahead and drop those in the chat so that I can engage with you. But those 10 steps for investing in your team, and I guarantee you, I stand by this, if you implement any of these steps, you will start to see some success with your team. So you're probably thinking, how do I even start investing in my team? So investing in your team guarantees a high return for the effort because teams can do much more than individuals. I know you have heard that before, that you can get further along with a team than you can get by yourself. And it reminds me of this quick story that I want to tell you about Morgan Wooten. Morgan Wooten is the first basketball coach to win over 1,200 games at any level. 40 seasons with at least 20 wins, 5 national championships with a lifetime winning percentage of 87%. Right. That's pretty good. A record with 12, 10, and 183. He said coaches at every level have a tendency to lose sight of their purpose at times, especially after success arrives. And that same thing happens with your teams, believe it or not. They start to put the cart before the horse by working harder and harder to develop their teams, using the boys and girls to do it gradually forgetting that their real purpose should be to develop the kids using their teams to do it. Equipping your team compounds over time, and it helped Coach Wooten get his players good, his team successful, and his career remarkable. And it will do the same thing for your team as well. So, Coach Wooten is a great example of why it's important to pour into your team and develop your team. Hi, Dwellin. I see that you are here checking in from Phoenix. Awesome. It's always good to see you and have you in the building. So thank you so much for tuning in. So let's get into those 10 steps. The first step is make the decision to build a team. And this starts with the investment in your team. So deciding that people on the team are worth equipping is the first step. So as the manager, as the leader, as the coach, you have to decide to build your team and know that your people are worth investing in. And it really do require a commitment from you as the leader. It reminds me of the law of dividends. Investing in the team compounds over time. So let's think stock market, right? You invest your nickels, it buy partial shares, and it turns into full shares, and it starts to compound over time and grow. A team's successes compound over time, like well invested dividends, investing in the stock market. Coaches invest time in their team members and develop the talents of the best people they can find. Think about that. Think about that even with basketball, with football. They invest in their people, especially the good ones, the better players, and they develop them. Collectively, the team members developed into their own community, everybody playing towards their strengths. And when each team member has the authority to act at the top of his or her abilities, guess what? The entire team gains power and success. Making the decision to build your team is the first step, right? So making that decision to build your team and decide to build the team and decide among the team who are worth developing. Gather the best team possible, pay the price to develop the team. It's going to be a price to pay, whether that's time, energy, resources. Do things together, delegate responsibility and authority, and give credit for success. So that's the first step, making that decision to build your team. What do you think about that? You can just drop a comment in the comments if it's like, yeah, okay, making that decision. Probably should do that. Gathering the best team possible. This truly elevates your team and the potential of your team. The better the people on the team, the greater the potential. So let me repeat that. The better the people on the team, the greater the potential. So, the law of the bench. Great teams have great depth. Any team that wants to excel must have good substitutes as well as starters. You know, your starters get tired. And so, that second line string, those people to come behind, they need to be good too. The key to making the most of the law of the bench is to continually improve the team. You got to improve everybody because when your first line people get tired, guess what? You're going to bring in the second line people and you want to make sure that they are ready to go. Great teams are built on the backs of great players. I mean, look at all the teams that have won, that are winning. Starters are your frontline employees. Bench is everybody that supports the starters. So the future of a team can be predicted on three things. Think about this. So think about the future of your team and think about these three things. First thing, recruitment. Who is joining your team? So think about your team and who are you recruiting to join your team? The second thing is losses. Who is leaving the team? So who are you recruiting? Actually, the second thing is training. Are you developing the team? So first, recruitment. Who's joining the team? Second is training. Are you developing the team? And the third is losses. Who is leaving the team? So think about that as you are building your team. Recruitment, training, losses. Who's leaving? And yes, Dwella says that you definitely want to hire visionaries and risk takers for sure. You need both. You need a complete team. And coaching is key. Every leader isn't a coach. That's true. Every leader is not a coach. And you probably can look at their team and the prediction, who is joining the team, what kind of training is happening with the team, and who's leaving the team. So let's think principle of the revolving door. My apologies. So let's think about this. The principle of the revolving door. So if eights are coming in and threes are going out, guess what? The future is bright for your team. Okay, well, what if threes are coming in and eights are going out? Then the future is probably not so bright for your team. So the question is not will you lose people, right? The question is who will you lose? Think about that. Who will you lose? At some point, you are going to lose people, but are you losing your eights or are you losing your threes? So think about that. So that question is what are you doing to develop your people? Because the goal is always to bring better people in than you are losing. So what are you doing to develop them? So that's a question for you just to think about, especially if you are on a team and you are the coach of that team. Are you losing more of your better players, your eights, or are you losing your threes? You're losing your threes. That may not be a bad thing. The third step is pay the price to develop the team. And this will ensure the growth of your team. So, thinking here, I'm thinking about the law of the price tag. And the team fails to reach its potential when it fails to pay the price. So, if we think about the law of the price tag, there's this story. It makes me think of a salesperson who envisioned selling goods directly from manufacturers to rural customers, founded Montgomery Ward in 1872. The company was well established by 1900. It even came to own the biggest skyscraper west of the Manhattan. But over the years, Wards failed to keep pace with changing times and new methods. How many times have we seen that happen? By 2000, it was out of business. Afraid to pay the price of keeping up, Wards lost everything. So teams must pay a price to win. It wasn't a resource issue in this case. It was the willingness to pay the price or spend, if you think about it that way. So think Blockbuster. They probably always thought they were going to be around. People were going, they had all those brick and mortar stores, they had videos. That was the thing to do on Friday nights, right? Then Netflix came along and said, listen, you can get these DVDs three at a time and mail them back whenever you get done with them. Now look at Netflix, streaming on demand. And so, what are you willing to pay And sometimes teams are not willing to invest and find themselves just like Ward's out of business. Look at Toys R Us, who, where it was cool to be a kid again. Who would have thought Toys R Us today would be no longer, where they wouldn't have any brick and mortar stores. So when you think about that, the law of the price tag, it makes me think two types of teams. So there are those who don't realize the price of success, and then there are those who know the price but are not willing to pay it. So think about that as you're building your team, building your business, building, any kind of group. Think about the kind of team that you are trying to build and trying to create. Does that make sense? If so, drop it in the comments. So, yes, train individuals to run your company, appreciate them enough that they don't want to leave. So, that's absolutely true. Uh-oh, I went too far. Okay. So the fourth one is do things together as a team. And this really do provide community. It lets people know that they are connected, they are part of the group, that they are part of the team. And in all honesty, people want to be connected. That's just the human part of us, of wanting to be connected. So when all the lights are off, when you retire, what is going to matter more is the feeling of the teamwork. You will forget the shots, the score, but you will never forget the teammates, that feeling that came with being a part of the team. You know the saying, you will always remember how someone made you feel. And that's true. You remember the moment, you remember the connection, you remember the feeling behind it. So, doing things together as a team is important. The fifth thing is empowering. Empower your team members with the responsibility and authority. So this raises up leaders for the team. So yes, you may have, a manager, and maybe the next person is a team leader. Empower your people to make responsible decisions and make decisions and take action, so that you are not the one that they are always dependent on. The sign of a good leader, you can look at their team. If their team is empowered to make decisions and take action and not calling you in the middle of the night when something goes wrong, then you know you're on the right track of being a great leader, a great coach. So it's really about when you are gone, when you are on vacation, if you can take a vacation. So when you are on vacation, how does your team do without you? Have you empowered your team to be responsible and have that level of authority? So that's the fifth step here in investing in your team. Important. I see a lot of managers, a lot of business owners, they don't empower their team. And so they are always on call. When the emails pop up, they can't take a vacation, they can't go anywhere, all because they have not empowered their team. And that's really not the kind of team that you want. Give credit. Number six, give credit for success to the team. This lifts the morale of the team. So give compliments. When people are doing a great job, they led a project, they had a great idea, they helped save money, they made a process more efficient. Give credit to the people that are doing the work. People want to be acknowledged for their contributions. So giving credit to the team, it'll go a long way, and it empowers the team. And they're like, it's something when your manager gives you credit for something, then you're like, okay, well, let me come up with another idea. Let me take the lead on another project because you got that credit. There's a quote by Mark Twain that says, I can live for 2 months on one good compliment. So think about it. If you are a team manager, even a team member, giving compliments to your colleagues for a job well done can go a long way. The second step, see that the investment in the team is paying off. This brings accountability. Everybody wants and needs accountability. So just as when you would invest in the stock market, you can expect a return at some point. So investing in your team and seeing that investment pay off brings the accountability that yes, all the hard work is paying off. What we're doing is working. The team members that we have, we are all playing to each other's strengths. And so you're probably like, how do you know if the investment is paying off? Like what does it look like? So you pay attention to it and you measure its progress. So that's what you see. Is the morale getting better? Are people taking more initiative? Are you implementing some of the projects that you had on your list? Is your team stepping up to take the lead on things? Are you winning more than you are losing? Are you having more eights come in the door than you have go out of the door? So those are some things that you can look at to see if your investment in your team is paying off. Are they still calling you at midnight? Are you on your vacation and they're still reaching out to you? And if they're not, you can, you are gone a week, 2 weeks, and you're not getting any calls, then you know that your investment in your team is starting to pay off. Does this make sense to you all? Are these some strategies that you can use with your team, in your business, with your students, with those that you mentor? If so, let me know. You could just drop your comments in the chat if it's something that's like, wow, I didn't think about it that way. But yeah, I'll give a compliment for a member of my team. The eighth one is stop your investment in players who do not grow. This eliminates greater losses for the team. So, a lot of times, managers, I see it all the time, managers have a bad apple and they spend so much time on that person that they're shining stars or rising stars. They don't do anything with them. And what happens? Those people start to feel like they're not valued. And so, stop spending your investment in players who do not grow. Don't spend all of your time on those twos and threes. You should be spending your time on your eights, nines, and those sevens with great attitudes that want to be a part of your team. So let's think the law of the bad apple, right? Because I said, stop spending your time on those people that's not worth the energy. Rotten attitudes ruin a team. So the first place to start with this, though, now is with you. You as the coach, you as the manager. You got to check your attitude first. So that's the first place to start, is with you. Because a rotten attitude is like a cancer, and it will destroy a team. A rotten attitude will. So, do you think the team wouldn't be able to get along without you? That's a rotten attitude. Like they can't make it without me. They can't function without me. That's why I can't take a vacation. See, you need to check your attitude because you've not empowered your team, and there's something there that you feel like you can empower your team. So, if you are saying things like, you don't think your team can get along without you, do you secretly believe that recent team successes are attributable to your personal efforts and not the work of the whole team. Think about that. So, do you secretly believe that your team's success is because of your efforts, really, and not the work of the entire team? Do you keep score when it comes to the praise and perks handed out to other team members? You may have a bad attitude, rotten attitude. Are you keeping score? Well, such and such did something and they got a compliment. So, are you keeping score of what other people do? You need to see how you do performing with your team. Do you have a hard time admitting you made a mistake? See, this is all the law of the rotten apple. So, have you made a mistake or are you still making a mistake? And you don't want to admit it. Admit when you are wrong. We all make mistakes. That's part of the process, that's part of the journey. So, do you have a hard time admitting when you make a mistake? And many of you know I am a proud medical laboratory scientist. And for our work, there is a level of perfection that has to happen. But sometimes we carry that perfection through everything. And so you don't want to make a mistake, of course, in our work. But then at other times, I have seen team members that maybe don't want to admit when they wrong or made a mistake. So are you one of those people? And if you are, that's okay. You can start today when admitting when you made a mistake. So if you answer yes to any of these questions, you need to keep your attitude in check because you could be turning into the rotten apple, even if you are the team leader. So if you, whether you are the team leader, the manager, or a team member, then you need to check your attitude, especially if you answered yes to any of those. So let me tell you another story because I think sometimes stories help bring home the point and make it a little bit clearer. So, three school teachers were told that since they were the brightest in the district, they were getting a special class of students with high IQs to see how much the kids could learn. By year's end, their students had achieved 20 to 30% more than the other students. The principal then told the teachers that the experiment was a hoax. They were not the brightest teachers. In fact, they had been chosen at random. Likewise, their students were average, but a positive attitude and high expectations had produced real results. Unfortunately, bad attitudes spread faster than positive ones. So you need to correct them quickly. There is no upside to pessimism or envy since attitudes color a person's overall outlook. I once heard somebody say that they will take somebody that's very talented over somebody, no, they would take somebody with talent and a bad attitude over somebody with limited talent and a good attitude. Listen, if you just heard what I said about the law of the bad rotten apple, you want that positive attitude because when somebody has that optimism and that energy and that passion and really believe that they can do something, you start to see extraordinary results. So just think about this story that I told you with the teachers. They were told that they were the best teachers and they were getting the brightest students and they believed that. And they taught up based off of what they thought. And so, when people think positive, they start to believe that and they start to see those kind of results. When people think negative, have a bad attitude, guess what? That's where you focus your energy and that's the results that you get. Does that make sense? Good attitudes. Good attitudes builds teams. Rotten attitudes has your eights leaving out the door. Thank you, Lona, for joining. And Lona said, yes, these are some great strategies. So, those of you who are tuning in, Lona, like I said earlier, will be our speaker this month at our medical laboratory roundtable. So, you want to make sure that you are in the building. Who you learn from matters. So let's go on to number 9, creating new opportunities for the team. So this allows the team to stretch. You definitely want to make sure that you allow them to learn, to grow, to be able to create those new opportunities. Because if not, your eights will be ready to go out of the door if they don't feel like there's opportunity to learn and grow and stretch. And so with this, it makes me think of the law of the catalyst. And so, and I'm thinking of this stuff from John Maxwell's book talking about equipping other people, giving them the tools to be successful leaders. So if you've ever had an opportunity or have not had an opportunity, check out and read John Maxwell's Equipping 101, because it's going to give you a lot of quick tools that you can put into place. So, the law of the catalyst: winning teams have players who make things happen, right? We talked about, remember, Coach Wooden had a team that was making things happen. Once a team is built, it has a natural tendency to slow down. That's just how it goes. It can lose its focus, its vision, or key people. And when this happens, the team needs someone who can re-energize it. As a superstar basketball player, Michael Jordan revitalized the Chicago Bulls and the Washington Wizards. Teams need people with energy because they are most likely to achieve results. And if you know about the Chicago Bulls, when Michael Jordan was playing, they were the best team ever in the league, at least at that time. And Michael Jordan still, I mean, to this day, and he's been out of the NBA for quite some time, and people still know him like he's still playing today. So they needed that energy because the team, they were on a run and then they kind of lost it. So they needed that energy, that new opportunity. So people need people with energy because they will achieve results. And the path isn't always easy. These spark plugs may say things others do not want to hear. And they may have a superior understanding of what the team needs. So have you ever had a new leader come in and the energy is different, and it's like it's way different from maybe the leader that you had before, but the team needed. They need a new direction, a new opportunity for the team to grow and stretch, and maybe it's new accountability. But sometimes it's not easy because it's like, well, we was doing okay when we had Susie Smith, and now here you come and you want to change up everything. Like I just don't know. Now I'm almost, am I resorting to the rotten apple? But so sometimes it's not easy to hear some of the things that somebody new can bring in, but it is very necessary. And a lot of times when they come in, they came in with a purpose and they knew the dynamics of the team, and often they're energetic and passionate and creative. So coming up with some new ideas, some new innovation that they think will work. Does that make sense? So, creating new opportunities for your team and allowing them to stretch, allowing them to grow. As we know, nothing happens or grows in the comfort zone. So, you have to be stretched. And then the last thing that I have for you is give the team the best possible chance to succeed. Listen, give the people the tools. Give them the right team members. Like, give them what they need to have that chance to win, have that chance to succeed. And this guarantees the team has a high return on the investment. So giving them the tools they need to succeed, that chance at winning. James Hunt says coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. And that's what we all strive for, especially when we work with teams and on teams. We want to be able to come together from our diverse backgrounds. We want to start moving in the right and same direction, making progress, and then ultimately working together so that we can achieve our goals, the vision, move our organizations forward, and achieve that success. And those 10 steps are key to investing in your team. So, just to wrap up on what I have, investing in a team almost guarantees a high return for the effort because a team can do so much more than individuals, right? You can be the best player, but if the people that's on your bench, like we talked about earlier, are not any good, you are nine, and the people that's on the bench are all threes. Guess what? The team is only going to go so far. You're probably not going to win a championship. So, investing in the team and making sure that everybody is playing to their strengths allows the team to have a higher return and move so much further than they could as individuals. Rex Murphy says, where there's a will, there's a way. And I've heard that a lot of times. Where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a team, there's more than one way. So think about that. Where there's a will, there's a way. And when there's a team, there's more than one way. So if your current team experiences are not as positive as you would like, then it's time to increase your level of investment, right? Because we can talk about the team like this team is horrible. This team is bad. It's easy to take the rotten attitude approach. But if you're going to be on the team, check yourself, check your attitude, and increase your level of investment so that you are doing your part. Building and equipping a team for the future is just like developing a financial nest egg. It may start slowly, but what you put in brings a high return. So if you put a little bit in, guess what? You get a little bit out. If you invest a little bit today, guess what? When it's time to pull it out for retirement, you don't got nothing. So the more you invest, the more it compounds over time. So it may, like I said, it may start off slowly, but it will bring a high return. Similar to what we talked about with the compounding interest with your finances. So the biggest thing here is try it. And you will find that investing in your team compounds over time. You won't know unless you try. And it doesn't matter if you are the manager, supervisor, or you are a team member. You need to invest. You're part of that team, right? And you as well want to be a part of a team where we got eights on our team. And if we do have some threes on the team, let's get them up to speed if they got the right attitude and want to get up to speed so that we got, all eights on our team. So check yourself. So the next time you look around and you say, "Oh, this team is not good," then have you did your part? Have you made that investment in the team? So that's what I have for you today. Let me know your thoughts about this topic. I am interested to hear what you think. So, Dwellin says train individuals to run your company, appreciate them enough that they don't want to leave. So, I think I read that one already. So, that is important. But that's true. You definitely want to train your people so that they don't want to leave. Which of these steps do you think is or was your biggest takeaway? So I'll go back and kind of recap for you. So we talked about making the decision to build a team, which starts with the investment in the team, gathering the best team possible, and this elevates the potential of the team. Got to first make the decision, and then we gather the best team possible. Pay the price to develop the team. This ensures the growth of the team. You can't be afraid to invest and pay the price. Do the things together as a team. This provides community. That's how you start to connect, is doing things together. Empower your team members with responsibility and authority. With or without a title, believe me, people want responsibility and they want authority to be able to make decisions and be empowered. So empower your team members with this responsibility and authority. So raise up leaders for your team. That's, often when people ask you about your legacy and they ask you about your team, do you want your legacy to be that you created the next generation of leaders, that was the thing that you were good at, empowering your team and creating more leaders? Therefore, they have gotten promoted, they have moved up to other opportunities, and they started to build their own teams. That's how you know you are a great leader, or you are following somebody that's a great leader. Giving credit for successes to the team. So this is important too. Don't be shy on the credit. Don't be shy on the compliments. Mark Twain told us, I can live for 2 months on one good compliment. People don't forget that. So don't be shy on the compliments. It's easy to get a criticism, but sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to give the credit and give the compliments. See that the investment in your team is paying off. So the accountability, looking at your investment, are the decisions that you're making paying off? Like we talked about earlier, if you're high performers, if you have more high performers coming onto your team than leaving your team, you're probably in good shape. But if you have more high performers leaving your team than coming onto your team, then you probably are in trouble. Think about those things. Can you take a vacation? Does your phone ring in the middle of the night? Are you finding yourself responding to emails and questions that come up all night long? So check that, because that starts to see if your team is being empowered. Do they feel they have the authority to make decisions? Stop your investment in players who do not grow. So don't spend all your time on the people who were twos and threes that are rotten apples. And then letting your all stars, your high performers, your people that want to learn and grow, you like, well, they are fine. I don't need to pour as much energy into them. I see it all the time. This is where managers make a mistake, especially new managers. They start to spend all their time and energy into those people that's bearing little fruit, and the ones that are producing enough fruit for the whole team to eat, they are neglecting. So stop wasting your investment and your energy in those people who are just doing their time, as they say. Create new opportunities for the team that allow them to stretch. So once you accomplish one thing, then it's okay to have a period where maybe there's a moment to catch your breath, but make sure that you are creating opportunities for your people to stretch and they are not getting comfortable. So the whole law of the catalyst, winning teams have players who make it happen. And the last thing is give the team the best possible chance to succeed, making sure they have the tools they need, the people they need, the right people. All bodies are not created equally, but making sure they have the tools, the resources, the supplies, making sure that they have what they need to be successful, additional training if need be, your support if they need it. So, giving them the tools that they need to be successful. All right. Hopefully, you were able to use some of those tips, and those tips were awesome for you. You have to let me know if they are. And before we close out of tonight's episode, make sure you share it out to anybody that could utilize this message, that need to be here with us. If maybe they couldn't catch it live, but they really should catch the recap of this message. Definitely would appreciate you sharing it out. Would be awesome. I'll see if there's any more comments here. But thank you, Dwellin and Lona, for joining in on this particular episode. I really appreciate it. All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson. I will be back next week, and I have another amazing guest who will be here with me that's going to show us and teach and train us on some great strategies that we will be able to use inside our organizations, in our personal lives, in our careers. But make sure you tune in week after week and make sure that you share this message out. Until next time, my friends, I hope that you have an amazing, amazing week, and I will catch you later.